Once upon a time, in a bustling city known for its nightlife and opulence, there lived a woman named Nakito. She was famously known as the slay queen of the town. With her beauty, charm, and wit, Nakito had a knack for attracting the wealthiest of men, hopping from one luxurious adventure to another. Her life was a whirlwind of designer clothes, high-end parties, and extravagant gifts. Little did she know, her next conquest would lead her into a world of unspeakable horrors. One fateful evening, Nakito found herself at an elite gala, sparkling under the chandeliers with the city's crème de la crème. It was there that she first laid eyes on Sonko. Tall, dark, and mysterious, he was the talk of the town. Known for his immense wealth and his reclusive nature, Sonko was a man shrouded in enigma. He owned a sprawling mansion on the outskirts of the city, a place where few had been invited. Intrigued by his aura and the challenge he presented, Nakito decided that Sonko would be her next target. To her delight, he seemed equally captivated by her. They danced, shared stories, and by the end of the night, Sonko invited Nakito to his mansion for an after-party. Excited by the prospect of exploring his world, she readily agreed. The mansion was breathtaking, a blend of ancient architecture and modern luxury. However, it exuded an eerie vibe that Nakito couldn't quite place. Sonko, ever the gracious host, led her through grand hallways adorned with art and artifacts from around the world. Yet, as the night progressed, Nakito began to notice something peculiar about the house, a door at the end of a long, dimly lit corridor that seemed out of place. It was heavily bolted and exuded an ominous presence. Curiosity gnawed at Nakito, but Sonko diverted her attention, leading her to a lavishly decorated room where a private dinner awaited. As they dined, Nakito couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. Sonko's charm was undeniable, but there was something unsettling in his eyes, a darkness that lurked beneath his charismatic exterior. After dinner, Sonko excused himself, leaving Nakito alone for a few moments. Seizing the opportunity, she decided to explore the mansion further. Her steps led her back to the mysterious door. She tried the handle, but it was locked. Undeterred, Nakito noticed a key hanging nearby, almost as if inviting her to uncover the secrets within. With a deep breath, she unlocked the door and stepped inside. The room was dimly lit, filled with ancient books, strange symbols, and chilling artifacts. At the center of the room was an altar, stained with what looked like dried blood. Realization hit Nakito like a thunderbolt. This was no ordinary room, it was a place of dark rituals. As she turned to leave, she found Sonko standing in the doorway, his face twisted into a sinister smile. Curiosity can be dangerous, Nakito, he said, his voice dripping with malice. Sonko revealed his true nature. He was a practitioner of dark magic, sacrificing young women to maintain his wealth and power. The mansion, his grandeur, all of it was sustained by the blood of innocents. Nakito's heart pounded in her chest as she realized she was his next intended victim. But Nakito was not one to give up easily. Using her quick thinking and resourcefulness, she managed to knock over a candelabrum, setting the room ablaze. In the ensuing chaos, she fled the mansion, with Sonko's enraged shouts echoing behind her. She ran through the dark woods surrounding the estate, never looking back. Nakito escaped that night, her life forever changed. She left the city, vowing to start anew, wiser and more cautious of the allure of wealth and power. As for Sonko, his mansion burned to the ground, and he vanished without a trace, becoming a ghost story whispered among the city's elite. Nakito had her reasons for pursuing wealthy men. As the eldest daughter in a large family, she carried the heavy burden of looking after her younger siblings and their aging mother. Their father had passed away years ago, leaving Nakito to shoulder the family's financial struggles. Her beauty and charm became her tools of survival, helping her provide for her loved ones. Every night, her family gathered to pray for her safety and well-being, their collective faith acting as a shield against the world's dangers. Nakito said to herself, I must stop this. I was almost killed, so she lived with her family for a while, but the situation just became more worse. We don't have food, her elderly mother said. What happened to your job? Their younger sister cried out, I'm hungry. So that evening Nakito told her mother, I must go back to town to search for another job, but when she reached town to her friend's house, they told her about the new clubs in town that opened while she was away. So Nakito, as usual, had always been the queen of the night, turning heads with her radiant beauty and infectious energy. Dubbed the Slay Queen by her friends, she lived for the luxury and attention that came with her lifestyle. One evening, as she was out with her friends, she met another rich man, Musisi, a mysterious and wealthy man whose charm and opulence were hard to resist. Musisi was known in high society as a man of means, but little was known about his personal life. Drawn to his wealth and allure, Nakito found herself ensnared by his charisma. He showered her with gifts, designer clothes, extravagant jewelry, and lavish dinners in the finest restaurants. For Nakito, life seemed perfect. Musisi was everything she had ever dreamed of. I will be able to look after my family with this guy. I must build myself a big house, buy a nice car, and alias make a nice business. From this man I must be extra smart, she planned. I must improve my life, not knowing what he was planning for her. So one evening, Musisi invited Nakito to his mansion, a secluded estate shrouded in mystique and grandeur. Excited and curious, she eagerly accepted. Upon arriving, she was awestruck by the sheer size and beauty of his home. It was like stepping into a palace, complete with lush gardens, a sparkling pool, and exotic animals. As they toured the mansion, Musisi led Nakito to a large, heavily secured enclosure. Inside were crocodiles, their eyes gleaming in the dim light. Musisi turned to Nakito and said, "Feed them." Nakito's heart pounded. She had always been terrified of reptiles, and the thought of getting close to the crocodiles made her shiver. She shook her head and took a step back. "I can't," she whispered. "I'm scared." Musisi's expression hardened. "You must feed them, Nakito. It's a simple task." Terror gripped Nakito. She pleaded with Musisi, trying to explain her fear, but he was unmoved. Deciding she couldn't do it, she turned and ran, hoping to find her way out of the mansion. However, as she fled, she realized something was horribly wrong. Every hallway she took, every door she opened, led her back to the same place. It was as if the mansion had a mind of its own, keeping her trapped in a never-ending maze. Desperate, Nakito found herself back at the enclosure. Musisi stood there, his eyes cold and unfeeling. "You cannot leave until you feed them," he said. Nakito fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "Please, Musisi," she begged. "Let me go. I will give you anything you want. Anything but this." Musisi remained silent, watching her with an unreadable expression. Nakito's pleas echoed through the vast halls of the mansion, mixing with the low growls of the crocodiles. Time passed, and Nakito's voice grew hoarse from crying. She realized that Musisi was not going to relent. In her despair, Nakito made one final attempt to escape. She ran through the corridors, trying every door, but each one brought her back to the same spot. Exhausted and broken, she collapsed, the reality of her situation sinking in. The mansion was a prison, and Musisi its warden. Musisi approached her, his voice soft but firm. "This is your home now, Nakito. You must face your fears, or you will never be free." Nakito knew then that her luxurious dream had turned into a living nightmare, and there was no escape from the terrifying reality that awaited her in Musisi's mansion. Back in the village, her mother was uneasy. She had very bad feeling that something was not right. She rushed to the imam of the village, saying, "Please make dua. a strong prayer for my daughter. Then the whole family and friends in the village came together and started praying back at Nakito. She gained energy and miraculously one of the door opened and she ran away thanking God. From that time she learnt a lesson. Not all that glitters is gold.